Jai Hind, Namaste. A very
Namaste.
warm welcome to MR Venkatesh ji, Dr. MR Venkatesh ji, and to all our viewers. And this is after a very long time that I'm going live, and I wish to revive my series Jai Ho. We are coming up with a second season after a very warm welcome from all of you for the first season of Jai Ho. We will be coming soon with the second season of Jai Ho, and this episode, this discussion about the budget that was announced by the finance minister a couple of days ago. This kind of is an introduction to the second season of Jeho. So again, once again, a very warm welcome to Dr. M.R. Venkatesh ji. As as you all know, he has been here earlier on our episode of Jeho, and he has spoken about a lot of issues about economics. And he is, as you are all aware, he's a very well-known television panelist. He's a finance expert. He's a renowned chartered accountant, and he's an author with a book which was recently launched that is called Retaining Balance. It is a very interesting book, and it I think all of you should read it. And but today we are here with him for discussing the finer details of the budget, which most of us must have watched, but then like most of us, we're not really aware of the finer details, and some of those things need to be explained a little more by experts. So here we have with you an expert, Dr. M.R. Venkatesh. So namaste, Dr. M.R.V., as most of us know him as. We have seen him on television a lot of times, and so welcome again, Dr. M.R.V., and let us take some opening remarks from you, and then we can discuss it, say maybe you know as some little aspects in further detail, and we will be taking some questions also. If any of you have some doubts, or if anyone wants to ask some questions, you can put it up in the comment section, and MRV will be more than happy to answer it. So I hope that by the end of the day of today, by the end of this episode, all of you will have found the answer to मेरे लिए क्या है इस budget में, which is something that most of us are curious to know. What's in it for me? So, uh, Dr. MRV, so the floor is open for you. Please give us your opening remarks.
Okay, I will say that whenever a finance minister presents his or her budget, the floor of the house, the general tendency is to start looking at it from a personal angle as to what it is for me in terms of tax cut, especially in the direct taxes. And as you all know, not more than 1.5 crores, 1.5 crores people pay direct taxes in this country. But unfortunately, all the 135 crore, which is 100 times more, people get involved in this budget exercise and praise or condemn the budget depending on the personal tax cuts, or hate the budget, or lampoon the budget for a simple reason that there is no personal tax cuts. Personal tax is very important, and it has got an ideological basis, but I would say that we cannot premise or estimate or critique the budget only based on this particular basis, that is personal tax.
Right.
We have to take a holistic view about the budget, and this year's budget, in my view, especially part A of the budget, was spectacular in the sense that there was a futuristic thinking in terms of looking forward, talking about 5G, digital currency, talking about blockchain technology, talking about gel mission to all the village, interlinking of rivers, talking about hydrogen mission. So many other things which fascinates you by talking about various things. But part B was a huge disappointment as far as we are concerned. There were several issues on which it is not the question of taxation alone. In this country, I always repeat it, taxation is the rates are at a destination point, more or less. You can't better these rates. Whether it is GST, probably 1 or 2% you can do, or your direct taxes, more or less, you are at the right space. Probably exemption limits can be raised up to 5 lakhs. But what is worrying is the manner of paying taxes or the manner of extracting taxes is exactly the opposite of what Chanakya suggested. Chanakya suggested just like the bees would collect the pollen from the flowers, you are supposed to collect the taxes. But here we have taxes being collected as if you have to extract the wisdom tooth without anesthesia. So that draconian measure resembling the 70s and 80s has come back. Modi
Mm-hmm.
ji promised end of tax terrorism. He did end tax terrorism, but he has brought in tax jihadism. So that is the worrying fact about this government, that they are not listening to the honest taxpayers who want to see the ease of paying taxes being improved, which has not come about in the budget.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, I mean, this is a very balanced view, I would say. And what we have all observed is that Nirmala Sitharaman ji, she was speaking about this budget being with a view of the next 25 years. And she also spoke about the Amrut Kal budget. So, what, in your opinion, is this Amrut Kal all about?
No, see,
And
we will
and
listen.
just I just want to tell the viewers that yes, I can see some comments here. Somebody is asking about the cryptocurrency. So we will be speaking about all these issues in detail. Definitely, we will take up all these issues, but just we will take it in an organized manner so that all the issues are covered. So very firstly, we will speak about the vision of the next 25 years, which was spoken about in that Amrut Kal budget. So, what exactly is this Amrut Kal budget all about?
See, the whole thing is that every budget must have an immediate vision. That is for the year. That must be linked to, say, a longer term vision of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 25 years. And each must be seamlessly integrated to the other. You can't have a budget which is all standalone. It will be looking like a
Right.
cactus. You have to have a seamless one which blends into the other and leads one to the other, and so on and so forth. It goes up. Unfortunately, in our system, uh, take even the instance of, say, the infrastructure pipeline, 111 lakh crores of spending that the government has promised in the next 6 years, beginning 2020. Till date, we don't even know what is the exact amount of money that has been spent, how much remains to be spent, what are the projects that have been completed, what are all being semi-finished, what will be taken up subsequently. So these are all things that always gives rise to a question about this infrastructure pipeline, which was talked about only 2 years ago, suddenly seems to have vanished. So in my view, there must be some sort of a long-term vision. It need not be a plan. Plan is basically a Russian idea which failed us between 50s and 2014. We had around 12 plans, and we couldn't go ahead. But I would rather suggest that we have a vision. The vision must be that government will do only certain things, and infrastructure will be one thing that will be concentrating. It will be concentrating on welfare schemes. It will be concentrating on financial sector stability. It will concentrate on the stability of the rupee, and leave the rest to the people and the market forces to take over. So if a government is able to define its vision and role only precisely to this extent, I think Nirmala ji has done a fairly good job. And more importantly, it is very clear that this government fancies technology. They want technology all around you. They want technology above you. They want technology below you. So it's also a good augury that India will be moving faster towards digitization, dependent on technology. But the flip side of these things is, the more you depend on technology, your employment generation will get to that extent impacted. And already we are having some problems on employment generation. So there's always a flip side to everything. But this, I think, technology, I think I would welcome.
Okay, so you are happy with the fact that there's a shift or more encouragement towards technology and maybe the digitalization of
Yes,
things.
yes.
So there was this talk about climate action, and so do you think that enough focus has been given to this the aspect of climate action? And in the earlier years, what was the budget? What was budgeted? So was it really implemented? And in what way we can actually improve on it in this?
There are two ministries for which there is no yardstick for success. One is external affairs, one is environment and forests. So you can't say whether Mr. Jaishankar is a success or a failure. For every argument that you say is a failure, I can say it's a success. And for every argument that is a success, I can say it's a failure. As far as environment is concerned, climate is concerned, see, we are having. I saw some reports that there is some increase in forest cover, and India has improved its forest cover in several states, around 24%. Ideally, we should like to go up, but we have a very poor man land ratio. We can't go beyond it also. So, and as far as climate goals is concerned, we said we will meet it in 2070. So it is not a 25-year goal or a 50-year goal. It is a 52-year goal. So we have pushed it to 2070 or something thereabouts. So let us see by the time what happens. You will not be there. I will not be there. So let us see what will happen. So we will leave it to the next generation of meeting these goals.
Okay. Actually, there was a lot of talk about how, India being a developing country. I mean, yeah, I mean, there would be a lot of arguments about whether we are developed or developing or, technically what exactly it should be. But, this thing about the climate action, how much of it actually, how strict we should be, and whether, there are certain projects actually that should need to be undertaken before we put in any restraints. So all of that, from a financial point of view, do you think that they have been taken care of in the budget?
See, a budget cannot be taking care of every damn thing. And these are all conflicts that we need to resolve outside of budgets. This cannot be inside of the budget. Budgets can only allocate. Now, budgets cannot do something more than allocation of funds. Now, as far as you are concerned about meeting climate goals and India being a developing country, there is a trade-off. And China did not bother about environment till it has emerged as an $18 trillion economy. And today, I don't think so. Chinese are not going to let up on this manufacturing agenda, and they are very clear. Only in India, in the mornings we want to talk about climate change, environment. In the afternoons we want about GDP growth. We are not clear as a nation whether we want to protect environment or whether we want to go up the ladder on the manufacturing ladder. So if you are going to be a manufacturing powerhouse, you will have to do a trade-off. I'm not saying that you should not bother about environment. You will have to do a definitive trade-off. Being a democracy, being what we are eminently capable of doing this dexterous balance and getting our balance precisely at the point. But it is not something that can happen overnight. We have to wait and see. And these things are definitely taking time because of what we are. We are a very vociferous democracy. We want to hear all sides. Everybody has some say or the other on the environment. Manufacturing sector has its say. Environmentalists have their say. So it's going to be a conflict out there, and unless it plays out in full public glare and comes to its own conclusion. So in India, the best thing is to allow public debate, see where it happens, how it goes, shepherd the debate, the process of debate. Don't interfere in the debate, and see what we want as a people. That's what genuine democracy is all about.
Right.
Mm.
So she spoke about using clean energy, and I think the government definitely is making some efforts, like say on some canals and on some rivers, etc. We have seen how the solar panels have been installed, and I think that is a very good visionary step. And so for such things, we definitely need some allocation, and we definitely need some kind of a focus on that. So I hope that that will be met in the years to come, and that balance will be achieved. So
Yeah,
now,
very true. I agree with you.
I want to shift to the subject of disinvestment. Now,
Hmm.
she spoke very highly about some of the disinvestment projects, and she said that, are you happy with all of that? Like, she spoke about Air India, and she spoke about how, that was a very smart move. And what is your take about it? I mean, um,
I am one of those who believe that Air India must have been closed. Okay, that somebody comes and gives you 15,000 crores and takes something, good riddance or bad rubbish, give it to them. Okay, it's their choice to have taken it. Air India was not to be. In fact, I'm one of those who believes government cannot run any business and should not run any business. Period. Now, there are some people like Dr. Swami who have a contrary view, and I strongly differ with them. Now, coming to this issue of Air India disinvestment, I am telling you on the budget papers are to be believed. The Civil Aviation Ministry would have had a budget of around 72,000 crores this year. Next year, it is 10,000 crores. And the 62,000 crores is basically saved because of Air India disinvestment. I don't know whether the numbers are exaggerated, but the budget papers say 62,000 crores have come about because of Air India disinvestment. Now, this is the savings, this is not income, this is savings of expenditure or the losses.
hmm,
I think LIC, they are looking at IPO, which will come in. But the
yes,
problem with LIC IPO is that SEBI requires 25% of market cap to be floated. 25% of LIC will drown the entire market. That is so big an enterprise. I think LIC is much bigger in terms of its assets than the State Bank of India. So you can't
okay,
just like float the. Yeah, many people don't know the balance sheet size of LIC is much bigger than that of State Bank of India, and it has got several secret assets. So LIC,
okay,
when it comes for actual IPO, the market will undergo a tectonic shift, and straight away it will come into Sensex as a bellwether stock, and probably displace one big stock over there, and so it will create its own uh, dynamics. So this was announced 2 years ago, and 2020 she announced. Then she said 21 में हो जाएगा. Then 21 भी गया. अभी 22 भी जाने वाला है. So I don't know when she is going to bring in the IPO of LIC. This
okay.
shows this shows the extent to which Babudam is reluctant to do. Even a minister of Nirmala ji's caliber, of Prime Minister's vision and dynamism and push. For 2 years, we have not been able to push IPO of LIC.
True. I mean, I think I wish, I hope that that thing gets speeded up. Now, coming to, speaking about speed, I come to Gati Shakti. That is something that, again, the government has been speaking about. So, with all the infrastructure projects, and what is your comment about Gati Shakti and all uh, uh, the whatever amount has been allocated to this?
See, the amount of infrastructure spend that this government is going to do is around 7.5 lakh crores. But you must understand the previous point that you talked about LIC divestment shows there is neither Gati nor Shakti. So where is the Gati and where is the Shakti? It is only in the PM slogan. The Babudam still believes that it is the Lord of all that it surveys. And Prime Minister can coin any number of slogans. Prime Minister can have any number of visions. Prime Minister can have any number of plans. He can have any number of programs. But the bureaucracy decides what it wants to do. Period.
Yes.
So that is why I said 111 lakh crores of infrastructure pipeline, which they announced on 31st December 2019. And for the next 6 years, the finance minister said we are going to have 111 lakh crores of infrastructure pipeline. This year, they also mentioned that they will seamlessly integrate between metro trains and central stations and railway stations to the ports and ports, the airports. All these things is very fine. But come to Chennai in Central Station, you walk half a kilometer to catch a train with your luggage and across streets which are not level. The problem is you passengers in the morning, in the late night, when they come in, they want to have uh, things that are level. You can just pull your trolley and then go about. Even that amount of planning is missing. So you have something here, something there. We are a nation of patch magic. You take some patches and patches and patches and patches. We don't have an integrated vision. So this Gati Shakti, all these things are slogans at this point in time. Till they get effectuated, till I see the pudding on my table, I think I will and taste it. I would not believe in all these things.
So, do you think that this calls for a little more integration between the ministries and the bureaucracy, like you spoke about? Because, say, maybe like you were speaking about the railway system and the railway stations, and then the roads outside, the infrastructure outside. So, do you think that now, I mean, the last few years, I mean, I think Suresh Prabhuji was the last railway minister to propose the railway budget, and now we have she spoke about Vande Bharat. So, do you think that this Gati Shakti will get a little more Gati from the Vande Bharat, what they have spoken about?
See, Vande Bharat is going to come about 300 or 400 trains in the next 3 years. Let it come, we will see. At this point in time, I recall when I was a young boy traveling between Calcutta and Chennai, we used to take the Coromandel Express. It used to take 25 hours to travel 1,632 kilometers between Howrah and Chennai. Today, after 45 years, it takes 38 hours. So we have actually retired. Okay. Now, take any of the trains in the last 15, 20, 30 years, marginal improvement has come about. Let us take Shatabdi, which I take very often between Chennai and Bangalore. It starts at 6 o'clock, goes there by around 10:45, 10:50. This is the standard thing for the last 25 years. So, where is the Gati? Where is the Sakti? So all these things that we will do this, we will do that, we will do this, we will do that remains at a vision level. See the difference between China and India. China gets it executed. Typical of us, we talk big and we don't know how to execute. When you have multimodal, people will take multimodal transportation to travel. You can't have a plane landing on my rooftop. So obviously there will be airport. From airport, I have to take a train or a local metro. From metro, I will have to either take a bus or a scooter or a taxi to my house. So this is integrated. Now we will talk about this as if it is something phenomenally new we have discovered. It's out of the world. Everywhere, in every city does it. You buy one ticket, it is seamlessly integrated. You don't buy a ticket again from getting down from a plane to a metro station, from a metro station, so on. You try to integrate as far as possible. Everywhere it happens. You somewhere you go by a boat, and from there you take another means of travel. It's built. They charge you here so that you travel one way. You get a ticket and you just move on. These are things here that is a state subject. This is a central subject that will come under part 1 of Schedule 7. This is under part 3 of Schedule 7. So we have complicated ourselves without understanding the whole complication must be to the benefit of the people. And if it is not benefiting people, this complication is no use.
Yes, very true. So, at the end of the day, it is, I mean, there should be a seamless kind of, user friendly kind of a system. Yes, very true. Now, what do you think about the Parvatmala scheme or the Parvatmala that was announced? That was the mountainous for the mountainous region. I think that is a very difficult area to look into. So, what is your observation about it?
They tried Sagarmala, and then they found they were not successful. So they changed the terrain from the ocean to the Himalayan heights, and they are now going for a Parvatmala. So all these are again emanating from the uh, PMO in terms of ideas, in terms of concern that he has. But at the ground level, if you go, last year we had been to Kedarnath by road. Uh, it was a horrendous journey. From Delhi even up to Haridwar, it was horrible. The even beyond Meerut, it was horrible. So point I'm making is, I saw in Haridwar the sewerage water getting mixed with Ganga right there. We are talking about Namami Gange. We are talked about Make in India, Made in India, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal scheme for Skill India. We talked about Sagar Mala. We talked about Sagar Ratna. So many schemes that we have talked about relentlessly. But proof of the pudding must be in its eating. And we are not able to, if all these schemes, even 50% of them are successful, as what the uh, Prime Minister envisages. You take smart city. Have you seen a smart city area?
Uh,
I'm asking.
uh, like a model's smart city, are you talking about?
Smart
No,
city may
I
we have spent 2.5 lakh crores. This government has spent 2.5 lakh crores. कहाँ है ये स्मार्ट सिटी? इज द बिगेस्ट सीक्रेट ऑफ दिस कंट्री. स्मार्ट सिटी कहाँ है? मेक इन इंडिया क्या हुआ? कौशल स्कीम क्या हुआ? ब्लैक मनी, यू नो, वी हैव स्टार्टेड a program of black money, and that is not there. Then we had this scheme about objective to skill 1 crore people. Then we have ease of living. We have national education policy, $5 trillion vision. We had this minimum government, maximum governance. Do you know what has happened in minimum government, maximum governance? 2020, we had 31 lakh 80,000 central government employees. 21 we had 34 lakh 53,000 employees. 22 we have 34 lakh 65,000. In just 2 years we have added something like 3 lakh employees. 10% we have added in the last 2 years. So where is the question of maximum governance, minimum governance? It is maximum government, but whether it is maximum governance, it is a matter for all of us to understand. These are all numbers I am
I'm
taking from the
I'm
Government of
I'm
India.
guessing I'm guessing that they were providing employment to all those people. So, but at the
Yeah,
same time, a lot of
the
things were made
government,
transparent and easy to operate. Like if you look at most of the things nowadays, like if you see whether it may be ticketing or whether it may be about passports and all these things, they have become really easy. Like it, you really don't need to wait too long, and the procedure also has been made very easy. So I'm guessing that and a lot of grievances also we can address it via online, and I think that that must be the
life,
objective of.
Rajalakshmi ji, the quality of life has definitely improved since what it was 30 years ago. I, I was in Calcutta when I did my 10th standard. I recall 3 days before my 10th standard exam, there was no power, and there was no power for 72 hours. So at the time, it was Mr. Jyoti Basu was the chief minister of Calcutta. We used to call him Andhakar Basu. So that was the level to which we all okay. But see, today we are a $3 trillion economy. The aspiration must be much higher than what it is. If you are getting a passport, uh, incidentally, I tried my passport on 1st January 2020. My experiences were nothing to be shared about. It was horrible. The whole
Oh, is
place
it?
was it was horrible. It was just 2 years ago. My experience, in fact, I tweeted that this is horrible, but things are improving. Of course, India things are improving, but it is at a glacial pace. I won't say there is no improvement. My only thing is that the way they are projecting, there are certain people within the BJP camp who try to project as if you don't have to do anything. आप just घर में बैठ के ध्यान करो, आपको passport आ जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं है, वहां भी जाना पड़ता है, 1000 बार फॉर्म फिलअप करना पड़ता है, ये वेट करो, वो करो, वो करो, वो करो. Then the point is, then when they give you the passport, they expect you to be there. You don't know when it is going to come. I came to Delhi, so the passport fellow would not hand over the passport to me because I'm not there. So these are all pain points. When the police knows that it has verified that I'm in that house, it is supposed to give that passport to my wife or somebody subject to an authorized letter. So I'm telling you, again I repeat, this budget is of 21st century, using the 20th century bureaucracy and 19th century laws. So there is a
Okay.
dichotomy of, you want to look forward, you want to do digital India, ye karna hai, wo karna hai. Mane, we want all these things to happen in a jiffy. But at the same time, we have this bureaucracy which is still in Treta Yuga. So this is our problem.
Okay. So the intention is good, but the bureaucracy is kind of holding us back. Um,
Bureaucracy is holding us back, and Mr. Modi again believes only in this bureaucracy for deliverance.
okay. So here, since we were speaking about the infrastructure and the environmental activities, uh,
Hmm.
Sporty India Club has commented that yes, MRV sir, it is right. In India, so-called environmental activists also disrupt in construction of infrastructural projects.
Yes,
This is very
this
true.
year, this year government of India has projected a spending of 14,000 odd crores on atomic energy. Take a bet from me, busybodies will become very, very active in objecting to the atomic power being generated. They are going to come and do this, and there will be protests and other things.
Yes, true, because that is exactly what I was saying, that we need to strike a balance between some of the concerns they may be voicing may be right, they may be harming the environment, but then we also have to find a balance between the environment and the development that is necessary. I mean,
See,
I'm not
somebody,
talking about.
no, Rajalakshmi ji, understand, somebody like Abdul Kalam has given a certificate that nuclear power energy is very safe. We have to, it's one of the, see, all power generation will create some sort of pollution. Now you are talking about
Yes,
solar energy, it's a very clean energy. But what does solar energy do? The entire solar panels, once they cease to be active, at some age they will become, I'm told that anywhere between 16 to 20 years, they all become, they have to be deactivated. What will you do with that? They are going to be dumped somewhere. तो सोलर पैनल जो आज आप यूज कर रहे हैं, वो उसका एक शेल्फ लाइफ है, उसका एक अंत होगा. तो जब आप उसको जाकर डंप करेंगी तो प्रदूषण तो होगा ही, स्वाभाविक है. So what
yes,
you do is, see, every power will create this, and when you have this nuclear power, it will create its own heavy water which is contaminated. People are thinking of dropping it in the space, but how do you take it to space also? And space is also not a very happy period because it can come back. The gravity of the Earth can pull it back. So there are challenges at all places.
yes, very true. Now, I'm wondering about the health infrastructure. Now, infrastructure, now, since we've been speaking about all of that, health infrastructure. So, we have all seen how, that is something that definitely cannot be ignored. I mean, at no point of time could we ever ignore it. But now, especially during the pandemic, that is something that needs utmost importance. So, what is your observation about the allocation for the health infrastructure? Because that was again something that you spoke about.
Yeah. See, there is a drop in the spending on health because vaccination has more or less been completed. I was one of those who doubted whether we could complete the vaccination, but we have completed the vaccination, no doubt about it. Almost 75% of our adult population have been inoculated twice, and I think 100% we are reaching shortly about at least one dose. We are inoculating all adults above 18 years, one dose at least, and second dose we have completed 75%. Probably June, July would be complete. So this year there is no burden of putting that money in health. in terms of that amount of expenditure. But there is another expenditure which they are bringing in, which is Jal Jeevan Mission, which they are planning to spend around 60,000 crores, which will provide water tap to every household. Now, this will be along with the fact that we have built toilets and open defecation is now significantly reduced. It is not that we have been able to reduce it or eradicate it, but I think the last 6 7 years there has been a remarkable achievement in terms of open defecation, toilet building. Now the next step is to take enough water. So if you look at it, Jal Jeevan Mission using all water bodies, and this will create demand for water, and this will create a good augury in my view, because the moment you give a null to a house, the next question is pani kahan hai. So it will be that the local water bodies will get charged, and this is what Arun Jaitley ji said about it in 2017 budget, that he wanted to see Manrega being used for repairs, rejuvenation and rehabilitation of all water bodies. But things have not actually panned out that way. But I hope now at least people will start using the water bodies, local water bodies, your Jeels, the Aries and others that we have in our neighborhood, which are now in Tamil Nadu, most of them are occupied by flat developers. And these are all actually, levels which are below the normal levels. And water used to gush in, and we used to have talabs, jeels, and whatever. And that is how traditionally Tamil Nadu used to tide over water crisis. But now what is happening? We have built enormous buildings over there, construction over there, and that is spilling out. This is because of our unplanned development. And that is what is creating this type of floods that again we witnessed this year. We witnessed one in 2015, we witnessed again in 2021. So I hope that water bodies management will acquire a local fervor, and they will start managing. There are small things. That is why it's very important to read a book called Africanomics by Arthur Levitt, where he deals with this subject about how small things matter in macroeconomics and how they bring about this shift.
True. Now, there was talk about interlinking of rivers also, and
Yes,
a lot of people voice their concerns that different states have different kinds of policies, and then there are some states are not on good terms with the others. Like yesterday, I was on a debate where somebody from the spokesperson from the from Telangana, he was very uh, uh, he was very strongly objecting to this thing about interlinking of rivers. So from TRS. So then, what do you have to say about this interlinking? So Suresh Prabhuji also in the past he had actually taken this up very strongly. So
that
a
was
lot of
very
people are very much in favor of it, and it does sound like a very visionary kind of an initiative. Uh, so, but what is your view about this, like, about the feasibility of the entire issue?
the legendary Cho Ramaswamy, who used to talk so much in terms of his tongue-in-cheek remarks. Once said that if you don't get Ganga water, we will get Ganga from Chandramandal or Chavagre. So so we love this. We don't want to take care of the neighborhood talab. This is the in fact Sukra Maharishi talking about Kali Yuga said that we will not believe in the local things or the neighborhood things. We will only respect the distant. This is the Kali Yuga pratik hai. So I won't respect Kaveri or Kaveri water. I will respect Ganga water, and you will not respect Ganga water, and you will respect Kaveri water. Now, this is the biggest problem that we are having. The point I'm emphasizing is I'm no environmental expert. People like Jairam Ramesh have voiced concern on interlinking of rivers. Of course, from an economy point of view, if things go well, this should be a great idea of interlinking rivers. This will give boost to parched areas and lands, and we can definitely take excess water, because in India at this point in time, some place must be facing heavy rains, some place must be facing droughts. So if you are able to interlink rivers through a balancing mechanism and take water from those areas where there is excess water to those areas where there is shortage of water, theoretically it looks good. But in practical terms, in terms of environment, and I don't buy this theory that states are not on good terms with each other, so we will not give water. All waters are nationalized, and there is nothing called your water or my water. There is a mechanism to share your water and my water, but there is no way that we can say that my water is my water and I won't give water to you. So
Exactly.
riparian will always have issues. So this should not be seen as some sort of a, and I don't think that there is an animosity between people of various states. There can be animosity between political parties today, and they may also join tomorrow. So TRS may, who knows, may align with the DMK, and DMK may align with the BJP. So future may have its own quirky ways of giving us solutions. But on the whole, if there is no economical or environmental disaster, economically speaking, it is a good measure. But I'm no expert on environment.
Okay. So there was, since this if if this is going to work out well, then obviously it will be a big push for the agriculture sector
No doubt,
also.
no doubt about it.
And again, coming to the agriculture sector now, um, there was this talk about zero budget natural farming, which I think, I am a big fan of this concept of zero budget natural farming. As uh, I think we have also had discussions about this, and I think that should definitely be promoted. So what is your observation about whether enough of a push has been given? Because she definitely spoke about it, but is it enough? And what other steps could have been taken? I think some subsidies for fertilizers have been reduced, and some steps of those that sort has been taken. So, what is your take on this agriculture sector?
First thing, subsidy on fertilizer has not been reduced. See, when they budget, they calculate the nitrogen prices, the NPK prices are a derivative of crude. So they expect the crude prices to be hovering around $65 through the year as an average, or something like that. So they would calculate the subsidy, and based on the subsidy, they arrived on the fertilizer subsidy bill. So this has nothing to do with organic farming. Now, I am one, let me give you a contradictory position. I am one for organic farming. Nobody will be against organic farming. But you must understand, Sri Lanka tried overnight to come to organic farming. And 6 months back, it had a huge food crisis, and it has been economically devastated, and it is now in peril and doldrum. The Sri Lankan people are now cursing themselves for having shifted to organic farming without adequate planning. Now, I am I would love to see if government says the next 15 years we will get rid of fertilizers. We will give incentive for people to adopt to an organic farming mechanism. India will go green, but at the same time, how do you ensure that there is food security for 140, 150 crore people? Now, without fertilizers, can we say that our food productivity, already our food productivity is one of the lowest, using all these pesticides? In fact, compared to China, we use far less pesticides, far less weedicide, far less of fertilizers. So we have to balance between the two. There needs to be a national policy. And between NPK, the formula is 1:2:4. But since urea, which is one of the cheapest, people, instead of using 4 of potash, tend to use 14. So it is sometimes 14:2:1 instead of 1:2:4. So the level of abuse of our lands has been phenomenal in the last 30, 40 years. So
Yes,
Mother Earth is
absolutely.
somehow or other coping. So long term, yes, we should move, but there must be a gradual way without affecting food security, livelihoods of farmers. Seamlessly, we must move towards an organic farming, and organic farming is our destination.
True. So, she also spoke about some new technologies to promote and to help the agriculture sector. So, what is the shift in the allocation from last year to this year? And like you spoke about, food security. So, do you think, like, what is your observation about it?
See, as far as the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme is there, which is one of the biggest flagship programs of the government. She's planning to spend around 100,000 crores this year. Next year, she says 73,000 crores. She expects the drop not because anything else, but because the economy will pick up. People will have more of jobs. So there is a genuine. These are all positive things that the government doesn't believe that people will be queuing up. Then, as far as the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, she has allocated somewhere around 68,000 crores, which is the amount that she has allocated this year. So more or less, these are all online. Then the crop insurance scheme, she is saying that she will spend around 15,500 crores this year. Next year, it is the same amount. As far as food subsidy, this year she has spent or planning to spend 2,10,000 crores. Next year, she's bringing down to 145,000 crores. Why? Because that 80 crore people who are given free food grains by the prime ministers will come to an end in March, and they will probably, after the elections in UP and others are over, probably they will start and the economy is fully opened up. They will go to the normal ration shop, and that is the budget that they think will cover. So, see, we are looking at a scenario that there is no pandemic, there is no lockdown, there is no such downturns. So government is very clear that how to go about this and plan it. So in this way, I think by and large, in that way, this budget is okay.
Okay. No, I mean, it is very creditable that, uh, this thing about where the food, the free ration was even in the presidential address also, and in the vice president also spoke about this. And, I think that that is definitely very much creditable. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
we would have had a very big anarchical situation. So
Yeah.
the ration that was supplied by the government, I think
Yeah. And our
that
farmers were able to rise to the occasion, and we had a record yield of around 300 million tons this year. And last year also we did phenomenally well. Agriculture is growing at over 4%, which is a very big plus point. So sometimes when things are doing well, don't touch it, don't do anything, let it go as it is. So you just sit back and watch. Don't fix it unless it is broke, as the Americans would say.
yes, very true, very rightly said. Now, I want to ask you about this emergency credit guarantee given for MSMEs. So that I think it was expanded for the hospitality industry and extended up till March 2023. So I think this was done with an intention to help delay sharp, uptick in bad loans in the coming fiscal year. This is something that I mean I didn't really understand what this means and what are the implications of this.
See, what this credit guarantee scheme is a very simple one. You can go to the bank and take a loan. Bank will, of course, take your collateral and other things. But simultaneously, what Madam feels is that okay, banks may be hesitant, banks may be reluctant. So she says the government will guarantee you to the extent of 2 lakh crores. 2 lakh crores is the money that she will give you to the bank as a guarantee. And if you are unable to repay your loan, she will then repay the bankers. If you
Okay.
are unable to pay the bank, she guarantees the bank that government of India stands guarantee and we will pay.
Okay.
This is not a direct
Yeah.
funding. This is basically a guarantee mechanism for banks to lend, so banks will not feel hesitant to lend.
Okay. Now there is this talk about digital education. I mean, about digital education in a big way. So, I mean, a lot of, I think 200 TV channels and digital channels to support digital learning. So, I mean, that has been announced by the finance minister. And so,
Mental health
you're,
also. There is a scheme for mental health also. I hope the leader of the opposition party doesn't claim to be the beneficiary of this scheme, but is separate. So, as far as TV channels being floated for education is one good thing. See, what is happening is once we are going into digital, the mechanics of going to school, examination by rote, examination on paper will all go away. We will have more understanding based digital interfaced exams. So things are changing rapidly. And Corona has, in a way, I would not have seen this amount of digitalization but for Corona. Yesterday, I could attend a lecture in Chennai, then went to Bangalore, Bangalore to Chennai, Chennai to Dubai, had three lectures, all sitting in the same chair. If it were something else, people would have said, "Come here, sir, attend this lecture." Today it's seamless. There are people there sitting, there are people here, physical interaction is happening, questions are happening, people are watching it from their homes. People, so this digitalization is changing us. Whether it is good or bad, I'm not into it, but this is happening right in front of our eyes. So we have to adapt to it, and the best way is to see the children get adapted. Children, of course, I think up to sixth standard this should not happen. Schools must allow children to be there, to go to schools, get used to the atmosphere. Say up to sixth standard or eighth standard. Probably after this, they can slowly start using these channels. But this, I think, we should leave it to the educational experts.
yeah. So there are some digital universities also that are announced, and some online. I know there's a big push towards online education, which right now, I mean, a lot of students, I think almost all students are into online education right now, even those who are enrolled in normal schools also. So that
Yeah,
again, yeah. So um, there is, yes, like you said, there's this push for the mental health programs also. And um, now since people ask what's in it for me, now I want to ask you what's in it for women entrepreneurs, and especially, I mean, how much of it is going to benefit women in general.
I congratulate you. I celebrate you. I am all in praise of you, but you should not expect anything more from me. This is a women finance minister telling all of us. So I am only repeating it that this is all I can say. Women entrepreneur, men entrepreneur, transgender entrepreneur, ये सब चला गया है. Everybody has to work and earn his bread. That is the moral of the story.
Yes, of course. I mean, that is done. I mean, that is understood. But then there are some special schemes,
See,
and there is,
there is a document on gender budgeting. Understand that there is a document, but see, those things are all ornamental piece in the budget papers. We don't even look into it
okay.
because
Now,
that is only told. Every scheme का 50% महिला को जाएगा. माने obviously it is not a separate scheme. Suppose I'm giving ration free for 100 crores, 50 crores roughly will go to Mahila, obviously. So they will say allocation of 100 crores for ration and then say in gender budgeting you are allocated 50 crores of ration to women. It is not 100 plus 50. 100 में ये 50 है.
okay. Now, I mean, I'm going to ask you something about the digital currency in the, and the last segment, because that is something that most people are very unsure about. But before that, I want to ask you one last question about ease of doing business. And what is your observation about the ease of doing business?
See, this morning we had a lecture by Mr. Vaitishwaran, senior advocate from Madras High Court on the GSTs. So I said that ease of doing business is becoming difficult. So he said, I disagree with MRV. It is impossible to do business in India. So this is the view. That's why I said part B of the budget was a disaster. Part A was absolutely on par, but part B, it has bombed very badly. And that is why you see this negative vibes coming from the industry, from professionals, from chartered accountants, lawyers, from various sections of the people who are in MSMEs. So they all know finance minister has brought in enormous number of changes in direct and indirect taxes. Now, one section में अगर change होता है, it is for a common man, it is just one section change. But for a large corporate which is having SAP driven environment, they have to go and change the software. And the softwares are not changeable immediately. You have to go and consult, they have to come test it. So it takes huge amount of money, effort, energy, testing. Then उसमें कुछ खराब हो गया. So year on year, the SAP people come and ask, India is a very lucrative market only for this, that every year you make and do some tinkering with the budget. Why don't we say that, okay, this year we will not do it, we will stop it? This is what is creating the unease of doing business in India.
Okay.
And digital currency you wanted. My take on digital currency is that all these cryptocurrencies are private currencies, and you can't have a country cannot afford to have a private currency like a private army or a private police. So what is happening is that the government has, for the first time, recognized that it has to do something. It is not yet decided what it is to do. So meanwhile, what Modi ji does best is to tax. So whether it is right, wrong, legitimate, illegitimate, that we will decide later. But first, आप थोड़ा पैसा दे दो हमको. So you pay us the tax on it. So they have levied at 30% tax. There is no deduction on any expenditure excepting the cost of acquisition. And if you incur a loss on sale, you cannot set it off against other income. So this loss will be a dud loss, and you will have to carry forward only. The second thing that I see is that this will create, in the sense, government does not want to stop you, but government wants to tax you and inhibit you from doing it. That's all I can say about digital currency.
Okay. So you think that instead of restricting it, they thought that let people go on with it, but we will tax it. So
We
it
will
is like,
tax it and punitively tax it. And जिस तरह से टैक्स करेंगे, दो बार सोचेंगे कि खरीदना है कि नहीं खरीदना है.
okay. So you think it is a way of, it is a means of, say, maybe legalizing something that they don't think that they have a control on. Is it that way?
They have not legalized, illegalized, nothing like that. They have only said, whatever it is, you pay my tax first. बाकी फिर
Okay.
देखेंगे.
Okay. So you think that that is a good thing or a bad thing?
See, I'm not into good and bad about it. This is what government has done, and in all its wisdom, it has come to this conclusion. Now, who are we to say what is good and what is bad? It's for the government and people to decide. As far as I am concerned, this should have come long ago.
Okay. Now, one more thing that has slipped actually our discussion is about defense. I know you're not very, I think you're very defensive about speaking about the defense part of the defense of the budget.
I'm
But
not
then
defensive. I,
so
I believe
I'm just using a fancy word. So it's here actually there was this push towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, and actually there was a divided opinion about whether more funds are being allocated this year than in the previous years, and about this push towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. So, I mean, your general observations about this. Of course, I mean, and I think that that is not limited to that particular section also, because in the infrastructure part also, I feel that a lot of it goes towards. It definitely helps. Like my observation has been, especially like across along the LAC and along the in the border areas. I think that that again is something that could also have been taken in this. But then, what is your observation about the defense part of it?
See, defense, as far as the capital expenditure is around 160,000 crores. and we are planning to procure 67% or 68% of the defense equipment in India, from India itself. I think we have reached a threshold where we can start, we have begun to start exporting arms, and we may not be the biggest exporter of arms, but we are one of the good exporters of arms. And this is good augury because this will have its own spiraling effect, especially on manufacturing. The second thing, as far as you have talked about whether the allocations, I think the allocations are particularly on target. We spend anywhere between 2.5 to 3% of our GDP on budget, and this year it's almost five point some crores, 5 lakh crores, which is around 2% of our 2.5% of our GDP. Probably next year we may do something more, and this balancing act goes on, and there are enormous amount of thinking that goes about when you plan the defense budget. So I am particularly happy about this defense budget being, and my own assessment is that the army is also fairly happy with this. The allocation of money for pension, which goes about substantial increase around 1.5 lakh crores, goes on to show that the Modi government is very keen on implementing OROP, and that has also been found favor with the people in the uniforms, men in uniforms.
Okay. Now there is a question by Sporty India Club, I mean, they wanted your views on cryptocurrency, which you have spoken about, and the second was they're speaking about no increase in ISRO budget, but I would at the same time ask you about another part of it, which I would say is the what is the allocation to DRDO and research and because I think Rajnath Singh ji he was speaking about how DRDO should be focusing on more research and a lot more missiles, and I think we are not just becoming Atmanirbhar like you were speaking, we are actually speaking about exporting to other countries as well. So, what is your observation about the ISRO budget and about the DRDO also?
Frankly, I have not looked into that amount of details about ISRO and DRDO, but I think there are some good, because I saw the atomic energy being spectacularly high at around 14,000 crores. Okay, sometimes perhaps the moon Chandrayaan program is only in 23, so they may not look at the budget now, or this almost over. So if it is about to be launched next year, next month or a month or two from now, the major expenditure would have happened now. It is only putting it, fitting, and then putting it up. So all these things, there are multiple factors. So you can't compare year on year as to what it is and whether we are spending. Yes, there will be some ups and downs in here and there, and sometimes some of these budgets will not be reflected so apparently. You must also understand when it comes to defense, DRDO, ISRO, and all.
Yes.
So you should be very careful before you pass any comment. That there could be a differential way of spending these budgets.
Yes. And your friend Mahesh Joshi, he says namaskar and he's asking you what are the hits and misses of this budget and what more improvements are required.
Okay, is he not your friend?
No, he is your friend also, right?
Okay, he's my friend. I agree. Is he not your friend also?
Yes, yes, of course, he is my friend also. So our good
Yes.
friend, I would say.
Okay, good. Now, as far as the hits and misses, as I said, it's a visionary budget, but unfortunately doesn't have the vision to see to that this is effectuated. It falls short in terms of delivery and delivery capacity, enhancing the delivery capacity. It is futuristic, and it is like driving a car looking at the rear mirror. You can't drive a car looking at a rear mirror. You are looking at 19th century and 20th century laws and bureaucracy, but want to go to 21st century. It will not happen. So the serious administrative reforms have to happen, judicial reforms have to happen. The Modi government has brought down 4,000 laws. That's not the issue. The issue is much of the laws that are in vogue today, much of the laws that are GST, income tax, all these are enormous pain points for ordinary businessmen. The MSME is concentrating more on filing returns than on actually manufacturing. So these are the misses of the budget.
Okay. And what would be your suggestions for the improvements? So what kind of
You
improvements might be required?
Madam, you become the Prime Minister and make me the Finance Minister. I will tell you what to spend.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So,
I need to go for the next meeting also, so I will take your.
yes,
Thank you,
so
madam.
thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
clearing so many of our doubts and spending so much time on
Yeah.
discussing so many details about the budget. And I'm sure whoever is watching this is has definitely gained much more knowledge about all these issues. So
Thank you.
thank you so much once again, Dr. M.R. Venkatesh ji, and I
Thank
hope
you.
to see you again on this platform very soon.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much and have a
Thank you.
great day ahead and
Thanks.
a very nice weekend to all of you, whoever is watching here. And Vande Mataram.